Thank you. Obviously not Mark Selby. I'll be filling in for him today. I'd like to thank you all for coming to hear about the RNC mineral story and what is a very exciting time for the company. If you're not familiar with RNC, you may have heard about all these giant gold boulders that are coming out of West Australia. Well, that's us, and there's a bit of an example of it here that I carry around with me. Two things I'd like you to take away from this presentation today. One, that this discovery has been transformative for RNC and has taken us from a debt position to a strong balance sheet position. And also I'll try and illustrate the potential for us to move forward from this discovery and to continue to produce high-grade gold from the Beta Hunt mine in Western Australia. So what attracted us to Beta Hunt when we acquired it 2 years ago was the presence of an operating mine infrastructure sitting above an undeveloped gold resource in a world-class gold district. So we're located in the St. Ives region of the Western Australia goldfields, an area that's produced 12 million ounces of gold since the mid-80s. We're the first company to develop gold in this district in the London basalt, and more specifically from a sedimentary iron-rich horizon within that basalt, which is the important thing that's creating these high-grade bonanza sort of deposits. On the Beta Hunt property, we've got multiple kilometer-scale shear zones that have the potential to host this type of mineralization. And the team at the mine has been developing our geological model over the last couple years that we've owned this mine. So at this point we have a good model around this, and we've tested it in multiple places. And so far it's holding together very well, and it bodes well for the potential to continue to produce high-grade gold from this mine. So again, we're located in the Western Australian goldfields. The Beta Hunt mine is in Kambalda, about an hour south of the Super Pit in Kalgoorlie. Again, an area that's produced 85 million ounces of gold over the last 100 years, as well as considerable amounts of nickel. Again, a well-developed, established mining area with a good workforce and infrastructure. This slide sort of focuses in on the St. Ives portion of the goldfields. The Beta Hunt mine historically had been a nickel mine. Starting in the late 60s, it had produced nickel. Since that time, a 5-kilometer ramp system has been developed along that nickel resource. And we basically, that's something that we have, $100 million worth of development that's currently there, sitting within 150 meters of a gold resource. These structures that host that 12 million ounces of gold continue under our property and come up against that nickel resource, again, as I said, within 150 meters of the infrastructure. So the next slide I'm going to show is a cross-section along that green line there. And again, this highlights why we're seeing this type of gold in this area when no one else has before. We're the first company to access this sediment horizon because where we are situated on the Kambalda Dome, the folding has brought that area up, that horizon close to surface. So the Beta Hunt mine is this red star. The sediment horizon, which creates, when it intersects these deep gold structures that bring gold mineralizing fluids up to the surface, when it intersects this sediment horizon, that's where you get this spectacular gold being deposited. So we're the only company in the area to have access to this at reasonable depths, and that's why it's really the first time you've heard about this sort of thing in the area. This illustrates the relationship between the gold shear zones, which on average host 3 gram per ton material, and we've been producing about 50,000 ounces a year at Beta Hunt mine over the last 2 years from those structures. Now, as we've ramped down on those structures and moved down towards this sediment horizon, which is the yellow line on this cross-section. That's where we've begun to develop the model for this high-grade material between the intersection of those shear zones and the sediment horizon. And sort of to make a long story short, about 6 weeks ago, we were down on the 1500 level. We put a crosscut through to test this theory, and that's where we've produced over 25,000 ounces of gold from an area about half the size of this room. So again, we're continuing to produce from that area, continuing to develop the model. So far, we've tested it in 3 places. Well, maybe I'll just back up a bit. This shows the important thing about this. This is a long section through the deposit. The green line on there is the nickel horizon, and along that green line is where our ramp system is developed. So there's 5 kilometers of ramp developed from surface all the way down to about a kilometer depth, and that sits about 150 meters above this new gold horizon, on the shears. So you can see that ramp system is always within 150 meters of this high-grade potential zone. The 2 blue circles on here, the one to the north or to the left side of the image, is the new Father's Day vein discovery. The blue circle to the right is about 3 kilometers along strike, where we've produced high-grade gold from higher up in the nickel horizon. We haven't even tested down at the sediment surface here. So again, extensive potential to continue this type of mineralization. This shows a plan map of where the current gold resources are, and also shows a sort of 4-kilometer extent for each one of these 4 shear zones along our property. So in total, there's about 16 kilometers of strike length where we have the potential to discover this type of mineralization. And 3 of those shear zones have, again, operating mining infrastructure developed above them. This is a bit of the discovery history, but over the last 2 years, we've been developing this model, and finally 6 weeks ago, we broke into the zone to finally prove the exploration model, and again, producing 25,000–30,000 ounces. We should be publishing production numbers here shortly once all of this material works its way through the mint. Again, this stuff gets direct shipped in a Brinks truck to the mint in Perth, so it's a relatively low-cost material. This is the geological model again. It shows where the sediment horizon intersects the shear zones. That's where we get this high-grade material. And again, that's sort of 2 planes intersecting, so it's a linear feature, but with the structural complexity, there's a potential to sort of shear those sediments out and get a little bit more dip extent to this. Again, average grade through these shear zones is 3 grams per ton. When we get into these areas, current production, we're looking at on the order of 4,000 grams per ton. So it's a significant grade upgrade in these areas. Just a few pictures of some of the more, these are some of the smaller samples actually, but again, some numbers there with respect to, the local grades. And out of 160 tons, we're looking at 27,000 ounces, 161 ounces per ton material, 5,000 grams. And again, just some pictures here to show what it looks like. We've tested this at 3 places along 540 meters, and in each place we've come up with coarse gold. So the 15 level was this discovery. This picture here is on the 14 level. Again, we cut through, showed the same thing. We have evidence of the sediment with coarse gold on the 1200 level. So over 540 meters, we've tested in 3 places, and the model is holding true. So the potential to continuously mine along these, and of course the grade is going to go up and down as it's not always going to be 5,000 grams per ton, but it's definitely changes the grade profile for this mine. infrastructure developed over everything, and again, we're in a position where this is transformative for the company, and we're well positioned with our exploration model and our understanding to move forward and develop this with the cash that's being generated from the mine. And that's my time. Thank you very much.